Well, hello there, YouTube, and welcome to a 61-degree Wednesday, the 30th of August. Again this morning, no thunderstorms, but rain for several hours this morning. Got everything all nice and wet. Next thing you know, I'm gonna have to mow the lawn again. I can see green starting to sneak out all over the place. It's crazy. It's so strange for this time of year. But whatever. We'll take whatever it throws at us. Ain't got a whole lot of choice in it. Anyway, feels great out here. It's soothing. The rain kind of softens everything. But anyway, welcome to Wednesday. Hump day is upon us. So I'll come down here and drop the wheels off and say bye to Kelly, and she's heading upstairs. We didn't do our little morning goodbye or whatever you call that thing in the morning. So, oh well. We missed the day. Get out of the way, Kate. Got all day. You've got to be careful coming out of here with a car. At least you got a cage around you. There's the old Carew 3s. And these are Bridgestone Battle Axe Adventures. I've definitely had these on a couple of demos, maybe even more. She charging good? Yeah, that should be much quieter. You're gonna make noise because the sound travels right up there into your face. It's just wide open. It's very unique for motorcycles how these things are. And yeah, they're noisy. The RTs have so much plastic around them that you don't get as much sound. But the GSAs, it just travels straight up. I mean, it literally sounds like the tire is in your face, but your face is like right there. Our test tool needs an update, and it does not read 2023 sensors. It won't wake them up so I can learn the RDCs or TPMS to the bike. It just keeps failing. So anyway, I got a case sent to Sarah. Anyway, I'll just leave this here until the morning and try to learn those in before I send it up. In case somebody grabs it or whatever, I have the RDC or the tire pressure monitors turned off in the dash, which is all I have to do to mine. It does show a little hidden code saying that they're not learned, but the customer don't see that. I can see it on the computer though. There they are. Bridgestones. And I put Ride On in both of them as well. I think she thought I was talking to her, not you guys. So let's toss some wheels on this thing with some Bridgestones. All the stuff out here. Just left everything right where it was last night. Just need oh dadgummit, I need my Loctite though. Sorry I didn't film that. Gus Two Wheels was commenting, he goes, I'm looking forward to the hat cam. It does many other things, but it's really good for using as a hat cam. The hat will actually be here Friday, so I don't have it now. I do have an older version of it that does the same thing, but yeah, it's kind of, the light's got to be really good for it. Actually, this new one kind of breaks down with light too, but with low light anyway, but we can do other things for that. But anyway, when you're done, Loctite your just a dab, because it has the micro encapsulated stuff still on there. And technically it kind of works, but BMW says no. So I put a dab of 40 or 242 on it. Don't go crazy. You don't want to be pushing Loctite everywhere. No Loctite on your caliper bolts. And no Loctite on any of the stuff for the axle. But again, just to go over 38 Newton meters, 10 Newton meters, 30 Newton meters, 19 Newton meters. Then you got the pinch bolt and the caliper on the other side, which is 19 and 38. But always go back over everything you've done. You know, no, I don't care how long you've been doing this. Never be cocky enough to go, I got that, and walk away. Just look at it and make sure your mind remembers doing it. If it don't, grab the torque wrench, just set it, hit it a couple, hit the bolts. Don't take no time to adjust them. This is better safe than sorry. And especially when you're going on a long trip, you don't want anything weird going on. I had a comment from someone saying that their A41, what do they call them? Battle Axe, this adventure or whatever. He wore a set out in like 3,800 miles or something. So, but anyway, we'll see. But they're not gonna howl like a scalded dog, I can tell you that. Again, as I was telling you, that noise is gonna come up through these. Even these, I remember, you know, you hear them. You just, I don't know what a road race slick is probably the only thing that wouldn't howl on one of these. But anyway, it's so simple to put this back together. It's kind of pointless to show it step by step. I'll do more of that in the future here. I can't do it at work, obviously, but it's just slipping everything back together. Oh, the one thing you got to make sure that, because this is a floating axle like many bikes have, you need to make sure that thing's not on any kind of bind, because this thing can move back and forth. One of the cheater ways that if nothing like sprung when you took it apart, of course BMW put this thing together, it ain't going to spring when it comes apart. But you'll notice that the caliper, the sides of the caliper are absolutely perfectly even. The distance from the edge to the disc. There's a measurement between the caliper and the disc, this side and that side. They were perfectly centered. You can kind of see the disc going through the caliper. Can't get that to focus right, but if it didn't spring, one of the cheater ways you can do, because you know it was right when you took it apart, is when you leave this loose, and when you slide your caliper back on, they're on dowel pins. So it only goes on one way. So when it's on, then you look down in there and you float this thing, because you kind of pull it out and it'll spring back. You're supposed to jump up and down. They actually tell you to hold the front brake and spring up and down. Try to do that on one of these suspensions. It's in full anti-lock. So what you literally have to do is bounce on it on the center stand to make it go up and down. But anyway, you can tell that it's centered, you know, just by resistance and the fact that it's centered just exactly like it was when you took it off. You can tell when something's wrong, you know, sometimes after a crash or whatever, you loosen that pinch bolt and you see it go boom, it'll move either in or out, and it'll push against the pucks. If you let it sit there long enough, it'll float. But don't back your pucks off too much either, because, you know, that can have an effect on it too. You know, a piston moved in or out one way, and you think you're getting it centered because it fell in the pucks perfectly fine. No, you want to measure the caliper itself, its relation to the inside and outside against the disc, because this one's a fixed one. This side is, I'll take my light and everything. That one's fixed, so it has no option but to go dead center. This one should be the same if the bike hasn't been crashed and things are tweaked, but things can happen, you know. Anyway, I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but it works. So all I gotta do here is put the rear wheel and the little splash guard back there back on. And it's 60 Newton meters going back on. And oddly enough, BMW does not tell you to tighten, though. They tell you the cross pattern, you know, which is kind of weird with 5 lugs, but you cross pattern it. Hey, I got a question for you, you Spyder guys. So you're supposed to cross pattern the front wheel lugs. Which one do you start off with? And which one do you end with? It's kind of a trick question. I'm just messing with you. You have 3 lugs. There is no starting and ending point. However you start, just, you know, don't do them all at once. But what I was going to say is, you know, even though I do these in stages, in the third go around, I go to the full 60. And BMW doesn't tell you to do that in steps. Some cars, does Honda do that? I almost think Honda does that. Somebody does that. But I just always have done it that way. Especially when you got multiple lugs. Just do them in steps. I mean, always go cross pattern, but don't do it. If they're loose, do you really want to put one lug, the first lug you do at full torque? That makes things bow and do weird things. Do them in stages. But what is that white look inside there? Is that some kind of oxidation or something? What the heck is that? Oh, wow, it's the seal. It's the bevel gear seal. It's like it's turned like ashy looking. Oh, whatever it is, it don't wipe off. Maybe it's something new they're doing, who knows? They change things without letting you know. And that centered part, it's harder to do with a floating caliper. The fronts are not floating. So as things wear and move, the caliper floats on pins. See, these are, if I back these pucks off, they go clack, 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 clack. The thing would move back and forth. They need to do that freely too. If they're not, they're binding. But the reason I bring that up is they won't actually be perfectly centered. So if you have a floating calipers up front, in other words, you don't have radial mounted calipers, the bolts come in sideways against your forks. You need to make sure everything in a different way. You need to make sure everything's okay there because the calipers float. And how you do it with that is there's always a caliper stay. This needs to be dead centered. You can do that with front. Here, I'll show you something right quick. I don't think any Harleys are floating. The Harleys I have anyway, they're all just standard mounts. Who can I get to the easiest here? Well, I have to crawl on the ground to get one of those. But these, no, they're not radial mounted, but the calipers don't float. The pistons float because they got 4 live pistons, just like the BMW does. I think the iron's that way, but I can't really get to it. These are floaters. So the caliper floats, not the pistons float. So when you're putting the wheel on, you got to make sure that stay, the part that actually bolts to the forks, you need to make sure that is dead centered, which you can see right there. The stay is centered. See how it's centered in there? If it's one way or the other, you probably have a collar incorrect. You got the left on the right and vice versa. Something weird's going on. So the stay is fixed because that's what's bolted to the forks. Well, that's the way the rear is on the BMW. And a lot of forks. Most things are going radial mounted like this nowadays, with the bolts going through the caliper that way. But anyway, let's get this wheel on. Well, that's it. Loctite didn't put the splash guard on the back. Oh, I left the tool over here. Wheels all torqued down. Went over all my work, as you always do. Never ever forget that. So, yeah, there's not enough. You need to get out there and do a goodbye because we're losing light fast. But unless I want to go for a night ride and a bug-ridden nightmare out there, you'll have to wait. And it's supposed to dump tomorrow. Friday looks like it could be okay. But we might even, I don't know, we're pondering riding. We'll see. But anyway, it's simple, very easy. These are one of the easiest bikes to take tires off or wheels off. Tires and heavy duty tires that handle a 600-pound bike, they are stiff. They're not easy to get on and off. But anyway, I didn't have to change the tires, and I wouldn't anyway. I'd have Tim or somebody do it. Things I don't know how, but I tweak my bike back every time I do it. Should see me putting those iron tires on. I think Kelly was as much as a help as I was to myself. Anyway, there we are. She's ready to roll with some much, much, much quieter Bridgestones on there. and then TKC 80s. And then I'm waiting for an answer back from the gentleman at BMW. He emailed back. I don't know what he's doing there so late. He's wanting to know if I still had the original cord that came with the TPMS diagnostic tool. And yeah, and then there was another little thread there about go to some location. I'll log in here at home and I'll see so I can get there in the morning, tackle that, and get that demo but the GS, get that thing, my old tires off of this, learn to that one, and then the same thing here. Especially if I drive Friday, I'll just go ahead and learn those in. Oh, that reminds me, you gotta show you a little trick here. If you let the tire pressure out of your Beamer, let's turn the light off here. Probably some conflict there. Oops. You want to go over to settings. Down, I think it's like one of the first things you come to. Vehicle settings. Look at that, RDC. Go into RDC and turn them off. Oh, that's a target pressure warning. Yeah, so that's the warning if you go below. So that's it. And then you just bounce out of this. And that's it. And always it remembers where you were last, and it drives me nuts. That'd be cool sometimes, and you'll see if I go through my range here. Look at that, TPS 00. All right, I'm gonna bail. We'll get with the mom. We'll do a goodbye. Well, hello there, you two. How was that for catching the last bit of light?
Yeah, she almost gone.
Yeah. A few month ago, I'd still have a couple hours of daylight out here.
I know it. Gets too spoiled in the summer.
But,
and then we whine all winter long.
Yeah. Well, did day number 2 of talking about nothing but GSA tires. How about that? It's fun. I had fun. Hope you guys had fun. I love finding a topic and following it through,
Yeah.
But on that, I think we're going to bail out on you.
Alrighty.
Before the rain hits or whatever. Tomorrow is supposed to be the soaker, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Friday looks like it could be nice.
Mm-hmm. Friday and Saturday, I think, are supposed to be nice, and then back rain for a couple of days.
Maybe we'll ride the GSA on Friday or something.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Mom and I take an adventure.
Yeah, on an adventure.
Yeah, together. I'm not having her drive her freewheel or anything through that Portland traffic. No way.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's nuts enough in a cage, much less. Yeah. But anyway, we're gonna roll.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. We will talk to you tomorrow. Same smoke time, same smoke channel. Don't forget to give her a thumbs up. And you guys have a wonderful Thursday or Friday.
Yep. All right. Boy, this week's going by fast.
I know. Which usually doesn't for me.
Yeah. We're going to bounce to that.
Yeah.
See you now.
In the morning.
Bye-bye.